morning once again, and I welcome you all to the second edition of Amrita Oval. Thank you so much once again for giving your consent and being here with us. Uh, at Amrita Vishwa Vidyapeetham, we inspire to join hands with institutions, parents, and guardians to provide value based education and mold the career of the younger generation through a system of wholesome learning. Amrita's culture of education helps to inculcate in our students the right ethos to be rooted in the values of Dharma, Karuna, and Shraddha. We believe that the Amrita Oval can demonstrate and aid in learning important skills that can be transferred into any aspect of our life, thereby falling in line with the vision of Amrita Vishwa Vidyapeetham, which is education for life, not just education for living. Um, with the Amrita Oval, we hope to provide experiences that are conductive to life changing cognitive and presentational skills. The Amrita Oval aims to help audiences and learners to see the power of deploying rational, reasoned arguments and compelling evidence in action. It sets an example of ways to elucidate our standpoint by utilizing rhetorical eloquence. Via Amrita Oval, we also aim to demonstrate the skills of researching, organizing, and presenting information in a compelling fashion. Uh, there are several other aspects, several other sort of behavioral skills that can be picked up via the Oval. Some of them may be providing an engaging, active, learner centered activity, improving rigorous, high order, and critical thinking skills, enhancing the ability to structure and organize thoughts, gaining a broad, multifaceted knowledge outside the learner's normal academic subjects, and enhancing learners' analytical research and note taking skills. Uh, Before we begin the debate, I just thought I will read through the rules of norms of the debate once again. Um, the motion of the debate is a topic of the discussion. The motion can be explicit or not so clearly defined. Here, though, we have a clearly defined statement. The sequence will be as per the schedule document, which has already been shared. Timing: speakers must have their content arranged so as to use up all the time allotted. Uh, the moderator will inform 30 seconds before the time is to end. Speakers should then come to a coherent end quickly, but they must make sure they include all of the relevant arguments in their speech. At the end of the time, the moderator will ask the speaker to stop. The moderator is the presiding judge and the sole interpreter of the debating rules for today. Uh, Points of information. After a speech, speakers from the side currently not debating may offer points of information. This is to introduce relevant information or directly refute what the speaker has just said. The speaker then may accept or reject the point of information that has been shared. No expression shall be accepted which is offensive, personal, or defamatory in nature. When worded as a proposition of policy, the topic requires the affirmative to support some of the specific action by some particular individual or group. The affirmative has the right to make any reasonable definition of each of the terms of the proposition. No revision of proposition of a speaker is permitted during the debate. He who asserts must prove. In order to establish an assertion, the speaker must support it with enough evidence and logic to convince an intelligent but previously uninformed person that it is more reasonable to believe the assertion than is to disbelieve it. In the questioning period, the questioner may ask any fair, clear question that has a direct bearing on the debate. The questioner may use the period to build up any part of his own case or to tear down any part of the opposition's case or to ascertain facts, such as the opposition on a certain issue that can be used later in the debate. The questioner may not make unreasonable comments or ask rhetorical questions. The debate must base its decisions entirely on the material presented without regard for other material which may be present but is not submitted. Any gains made outside the established procedure are disallowed. It is recommended that we have a pen and a notepad handy in case we want to jot down points. With that, we move into the first segment where each speaker shall, give a brief introduction of himself or herself and indicate her stand that she's taking for the day. We will go in the following order. Ms. Kalpana Singh, you will be speaker number 1. Ms. Seema Ramachandran, you'll be speaker number 2. Ms. Nagaprabhavathy,
you can call me Prabhas.
Prabha. Ms. Prabha, you will be speaker number 3. And Ms. Pinkey Singh, you'll be speaker number 4. Speaker number 1, please go ahead and introduce yourself.
Decades, and I would not call it my profession, but my passion. So I started been heading institutions, and then this new profession, if I take it, it is this teaching profession. And that opportunity to and I find that from time I'm sure students feel that there is because about our lives. So thank you, team Amrita, because it's been really, really nice to be associated with you all, to be following and seeing what kind of work you all have been doing, and it's really been great work. So I really noted that today I'm one of the panelists for this very healthy discussion and a very rich discussion. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Could you just clarify your stand again for today?
Well, because, for today, from here to be one of the panelists, and when the topic was informed, I think immediately so whether military training should be made compulsory,
Ma'am, you're not audible.
Some network issue with Kalpana ma'am.
Okay. Pardon Shruti, I think we can request her to log out and log in again. It may
Sure,
take
sir.
just request her to do that. In the
Just move
meanwhile,
ahead with the other
speaker
parts.
number two,
Yeah.
speaker number two, may I request you to please take your time?
A very good morning
Right.
to all the attendees and panelists here, and a special happy morning to Saurav sir, who has initiated this topic. I am for military education is for the school. Okay? And I must also thank Mr. Parmeshwaram, who has given me this platform to come and be with all of you. I'm the principal of JRK Matriculation Higher Secondary School, that is Janaki Ramachandran Kalyan, Vadapalani. I have been working here from 2003. Okay. Thank you. And
Your stand for today, ma'am.
yes, a military education is necessary for the school.
So you're for it. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. 40 seconds of the 2 minutes. Speaker number three, your 2 minutes. Please take over.
Yeah, I'm Prabhavati. It's been a beautiful journey as an educator for the past 23 years. And I have worked in various schools in different states, Madhya Pradesh and then Karnataka, many schools like Nagar, Venkat Public School, Royal Concorde, and also now I am in Valiants. And my passion drove me so long, with this profession. And I enjoy being with the children. And this particular topic, it's near to the heart. I say there are two things which we can consider as approaches to child education. One is disciplining and regimentation. The other one is temporal philosophical softness which the child should have. So I thought I will go against the topic that military education is not good for the school children, considering their, child development and also their well-being in every way, psychological, socio-economical, and also emotional well-being. So I go against this topic. This is a stand I have. Thank you, sir, for giving me an opportunity to be there in Amrita Oval. And I especially thank Mr. Parameshwaran, who has introduced me to this platform. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. 1 minute, 38 seconds. Speaker number four, your 2 minutes. Please go ahead.
Thank you so much. Before we go ahead,
am I audible? Just let me know.
Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes.
Thank you. Before we go ahead with this fiery debate, I would like to thank Amrita Oval for giving me this opportunity to be a part of this panel discussion. And Mr. Parmeshwar, of course, and all the best to my co-panelists and especially my opponents. Now, here, I have been in the domain of education from the last 26 years. Pan-India I have worked. I have been working with the corporate world. I have also been in the educational institutions. And before I joined Royal Concorde International School as a principal here at Kalyan Nagar, I was with the Sunbeam Group of Educational Institutions across 24 branches as the head of quality control, research and development. And through my experience, I have noticed one thing, that any person who has become successful with, and here for me, mind it, my definition for success is not fame and wealth. It's all about discipline. So anybody who has made a mark in his life, it's all because of discipline in life, punctuality, teamwork. And today's topic, it's all about military training. And I would like to here share with you that, in fact, to the viewers and to the panelists and all the members here, that here we are not going, let's not deviate from the main topic. The topic here, should military training be mandatory in all the educational institutions?
Last 30 seconds.
And so let's not deviate from the topic, and because we are not talking about conscription, we are not talking about
anything like, because like conscription is compulsory enlistment in state services, armed forces. We are talking about military training, that is service to the nation. It's about the long-term impact investment. So that's all, and all the best to all the co-panelists, and let's have a fiery debate. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. I see that our
and I'm for the motion. Sorry, I am in favor of the motion.
I see speaker number one hasn't been able to sort out the network issues yet. We'll proceed. We'll begin with, we'll move into the next round where each speaker for the motion first has 10 minutes to present her views and her thoughts on the motion that is chosen today. Since speaker number one is having some issues, I invite speaker number two to present your views on for the motion. Your 10 minutes, over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. So military education is necessary for school, as mentioned earlier, like it's more of for the discipline, the behavior, and on time and everything. So it also, like, if supposing we have the military education for the schools, it will help the underprivileged society who can get a dignified life. That is one thing. Second thing is the crime rates can be reduced. We develop patriotism among the students. Then they also are benefited with, as I told earlier, the underprivileged society, when they are trained to become more dignified, they get the government benefits and they elevate themselves to better status. Then we find these military services mandatory in European countries and countries like Singapore and all, okay, for the school, during the school education time itself. In our country too, in our schools too, we are already, the military education has been incorporated in a small way through NCC, then student police, RSP. So this all brings them good physical fitness, immunity, among themselves compared to their own peer groups. Okay, from the other set of schools where they do not incorporate all these things. Okay, so this military training also helps them to cope up mental stress, pressure, then adaptability, because they deal with different variety and culture people. Okay, they are able to do self-confidence. Then they self-confidence with all the lessons that is relevant for today's needs. Okay, once they are military trained, they are also capable for we can use them in disaster management, evacuations, flood relief programs. Okay, they get the skill of high problem solving. Okay, then the young minds, they are put into a systematic way of channelizing their energy, which will build their confidence, self-confidence, and become more responsible citizens. Then inducting military training is also upgrading in the education system, like how earlier sex education was opposed by many states when it was initially brought in. But today we have all the rules and regulations being channelized well through the POCSO. Okay, so 2007 we had a lot of things. Now we have a diet department separately for that. Okay, so we must change with times. That is what is my stand. Another thing is about criminals. Lot of, even in the juvenile, when you see that the children as criminals, or even the jail, we have a lot of manpower wastage happening, which we could divert into the military training and all this, so that we can productively use the people, whether it is small children or even the adults. Thank you.
Ma'am, you've it's just 3 minutes. You still have 7 minutes in case you'd like to, share any other examples or anything.
We can also we understand that when we are equipping these children, we can with any external threats to our country, immediately in case of any emergency, we have these children also ready for in case of war and all. Okay, that is another thing. Service to nation and spirit of nationalism and patriotism. These are the points which we could bring into them. We could inculcate all these kind of things. That's all. Thank you.
3 minutes, 45 seconds. You're sure you wouldn't want your balance time?
No, sir. It's okay. Fine.
Okay, thank you. Speaker number 4, since you have shifted from against to for the motion, I invite you now to present your thoughts on the topic. Your 10 minutes, just as soon as I reset my clock. Ma'am, speaker number 4, your 10 minutes, it's yours. Please go ahead.
Thank you. So the time starts now. Okay. Like Seema ma'am just talked about all the buzzwords, like we are talking about punctuality, we are talking about adaptability, we are talking about teamwork, we are talking about discipline, positive. All these are the buzzwords used with military training. There might be a question from my opponents where they might ask that why is it only military training associated with these words? They can be. So on that, I would like to add here that education can be received from various avenues. We don't require only a school to get an education. And with the last 2 years due to the COVID, we saw that during the pandemic, education was received from so many avenues. So many educators became edupreneurs and they started teaching. In fact, recently only we recruited one teacher and I was surprised that she was just after the school reopened, just 1 week after the school resumed, and she came with a resignation and she said that I cannot continue with this physical classroom teaching because I had been an online tutor for the last 2 years and it's difficult to teach in the physical classroom because it's intolerable. What I mean to say here that education, the meaning of education has totally changed since pandemic. Education on YouTube, you can receive everything. It's only, and our children are like swimming across, they're sinking in this sea of information. So as teachers, it's very, very important. We need to make our children swim in this sea of information because we are all just facilitator. And here I want to say that so military training, if given a military training to and made compulsory in the schools of India, all these words, that will be the best setup because we are going to give discipline to the children. Now, as I've been in the corporate world also, what I find, and it's like very sad and shocking, look at the 30, 40-year-old corporate professionals of today. What do we find? You find that they are very successful. Professionally, they might be very successful. But what do we find? With bulging bellies, pot-bellied people. So are they physically fit? I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. That's the difference we want to bring to a society where they are into physical fitness. So what a beautiful world it would be if our children undergo this military training. They would be respecting physical fitness. Now, I'm even concerned with the misplaced sense of patriotic remarks, everyone proclaiming nationalistic views. But does our actions convey that? Sadly, in most cases, no. Because I believe that a well-planned military training would foster a truer sense of patriotism in our youth. And then we talk about nation building. Again, that's sadly missing in many cases when teamwork. In fact, we talk about the 21st century skills. We talk about creative thinking. We talk about cognitive thinking. We talk about communication. And we talk about collaboration. But is collaboration there among children? Are we building the spirit of teamwork among children? So it's just not only for the namesake we are talking about 21st century skills. We are developing all these hands-on learning, experiential learning. All these things were there in the previous centuries also, but only the flavor has changed. So we need to delve in our children. We need to delve these kind of habits that, because in a simple everyday word, but one that's conspicuous, is absent in our institutions and organization. And imagine the world of difference military training would bring in fostering the teamwork. And again, as I said in my introductory information, that I am not talking about conscription, compulsory enlistment in state services, especially in the armed forces.
I am speaking about military training, and that's only not linked to ideology of war. It's all about service to mankind, service to the nation. It's all, we talk about positivity, but do our children have the feeling of positivity? They have the positive attitude? And time management. We all the time talk about time management and effective, and those buzzwords which has been used by the speakers here, but all of these have to come only from military training, and that is going to bring in our youth. Now we have to bring that. There's a beautiful term. We need a village to build our children. So we need uh, inculcate a military training in our schools so that children are able to develop these qualities in our day-to-day life. Do I still have the time? Shall I continue with it, Mr.
Yes,
Shauri?
please.
Oh,
Yes,
thank
please.
you.
Yes, go ahead.
So I just want to say that we have worked with, see here, for example, and for me, it's very important because the last 2 years, the pandemic has taught us so much. There was, imagine, and with the coming of the NEP, I think the world is going to be a totally different, the education system is going to be changed. I know, again, I'm deviating slightly from the topic, but in case if we do not link with the education system, the whole topic becomes meaningless. So here comes the sphere where we need to teach our children, because in the coming 10 years, all the education system, even the jobs which are there today will be vanished in the coming days. They won't be there. So what are we giving? So from whatever we want our children to see in the next 10 years, we have to start right from now. We need to start them. Are we giving that children? Are we inculcating? Are we imbibing all these qualities in our children? We might talk, and education platforms, educational institutions, the schools are the only way. Because if we want to see a developed society, we have to develop all this in our classrooms today. So tomorrow's society all depends on in our today's classroom. And we talk about SDGs 4, SDGs, sustainable goals, and education is all about quality education. We need to give a good education to our children. And sustainable goals talk about quality education, and military training is one of the most important things which has to be imbibed for quality education. So I'm all for military training because that is going to make our children the youth of the nation, and in the coming generation, the kind of society we want, it's going to be possible only when we have the classrooms today. We have a curriculum like this, and with this new curriculum, this advanced curriculum, we can bring a beautiful society ahead. If I have time, I would like to add here that these like social media, I find it, I do not want to go into some kind of sensitizing thing, but there is so much, all these platforms like Instagram, Facebook, and there is the Twitter. They are all are talking about the nationalistic views. They're talking about the patriotism, but when the real picture comes, there's no action in it. So I'm just elaborating it that if we want our children, if we want the children tomorrow, that they should have the quality of patriotism, the feeling of patriotism in them, they should have that from the in-depth. Because in fact, I would like to tell you about from my live experience. In fact, yesterday when I went in one of the classrooms and I told the senior section, I was taking a round of the school, and I went in one of the classrooms and I said to them, the dear children, there was a class 11th, and I went there and I said, I was today surprised because I was going in and taking around class 8th and 9th, and I was telling them that children, you don't have to loiter in the corridors, don't have to bend down on the railings, and do not make noise until your teacher comes, and all those rules and norms which we do it in the school. And one child, he got up and said, ma'am, why is all the rules for the middle school? Why is there no rule for the senior section? And I just said this to class 11. Children, we have to be the role model. We have to be, as principal, if I come in a ripped jeans and a crop top, do you think I would get the respect? I'm sorry, I wouldn't get that. So in the same way, as the senior children, as the children of class 11 and 12, you cannot get your hair highlighted because sometimes
Last 10 seconds, ma'am.
we
Please go
sometimes
on. Please go on.
sometimes we need to make our children understand by showing them how it is to become a role model. So in short, in nutshell, I feel that all these words which we use, teamwork, punctuality, etc., has to be imbibed in the educational institution, because the world is waiting for us. The world is waiting to be a beautiful, because it's a beautiful blue planet of ours, and let's make this education system with all these qualities. Thank you so much. Have I covered the 30 seconds, the 10 minutes?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you so much. Um, in this next segment, we open the floor for any of the speakers to share any points of information, if there are any. Please go ahead. Any speaker would like to share any points of information or any added data, anything, you
Yeah.
can please do so now.
Again, I am against a motion, so I would like to contribute something. I feel as such, our school education curriculum encompasses all what a child needs. A physical training, it has value-based education, and it has got all the life skills, and the curriculum is compact. If it is efficiently articulated by the teachers to the children, I think they will emerge as beautiful individuals who can face any scenario in, in the 21st century. With the changing scenario as of now, with market forces, globalization, and other things, I feel a cultured personality is a need of an hour than a war hero. That's what I feel. So once, if it is intellectual, we need thinking man than the fighting man. So in that pretext, I would say whatever we have a school education for child, for the development, for the child's development in all aspects have been enough. And we also have some additional like NCC, which comes in, and we have value-based education. And I would like to, I have just noted down the points, whatever came to my mind, that value-based education lays emphasis on personality development of individuals in order to shape the future and tackle difficult situations with ease. It molds its children so they
Prabha,
get attuned.
Ms. Prabha, the invitation is your main thoughts and points can come in the 10 minutes that will be given. Points of
Okay.
interest is time given to any or all speakers where they might want to add something, some
Add
data
something.
or
Okay.
something that they from what they've
Okay.
already
If
shared.
I'm
Or if
okay,
you'd like to
that's
contradict something which was shared, you can share that, because you have 10 minutes after this where you can elaborately
yeah,
share your thoughts.
that's fine. That's fine.
Ma'am.
Thank you.
Any other points of interest? Any Miss Pinky, please go ahead.
Yeah, Dr. Shaurita, thank you so much. As ma'am said, she's the opponent. She said that don't want heroes, we don't want fighters. We want, am I right, ma'am? This was the sentence which you said? Okay.
I
But
said we need thinking men than fighting men.
yes. So again, I said, therefore, I started my speech here that we are not talking about war. We are not talking about combating all that. We are talking about discipline so we need that heroism. So I would like to contradict Prabha ma'am by saying that we need heroes. We need real life heroes. In fact, in the assembly, I always give anecdotes. I like sharing anecdotes because the real life experiences only means a lot. So 2 days back in the assembly, I said, do you know what's discipline?
Discipline is all about when no one is seeing you. You don't have to be walking in a queue when your principal is seeing you or your teacher is seeing you. When no one is seeing, you are a hero then. So I believe we need these heroes in real life to have this discipline. That's all I wanted to contradict on that fact.
Thank you, ma'am. Miss Seema, I saw your hand up.
Yes, sir. Like we have two things running parallel in schools is one is behavior and one is academics, right? So always we have to give first importance to the behavior part, because once the child is or the children are having good behavior, academics will automatically fall in place. Okay, so we have today a lot of children who are obese, and then behavioral part is also a part where we are spending a lot of our productive time in, as Pinky ma'am says, that to make them form a line, not to use abusive languages, then not to have any physical things in the school. You can also see that a lot of these rape cases are happening nowadays. How come these youngsters are having so much of time for themselves, wherein we can use this military trainings and make them use their energy in a productive way, rather than they thinking into all these things and having time. Why this rape has come itself into the thing is because they have enough time to see the Instagram, Facebook, and lot of things down there in the Google areas. Okay, so these all they have enough time. This all is being wasted. The productive time is being wasted, wherein we can inculcate this military training, as Pinky ma'am made it more specific, or as ma'am was talking about the fight, is we are not going to use ammunitions, or we are not going to teach them all these things about the the bombs and the military things around. We are going to give them only the physical training to make their mind more concentrate and more responsible, and to channelize it more in a nice energetic, to energize their energy in the right way. Okay, so that they don't think anything non-productively, and moreover it will help out the women, the girls, the boys, the juniors, and all. They can be a helping hand for those children, rather than they looking at these youngsters in a wrong way, like taking them aside and raping them and all. Even last this May month, when we had a public exam also, we had our children going into the government schools. There also the children are like calling them to the bathroom area and all this stuff. So why this kind of a filthy mind is time has been given for the mind to become so filthy? Okay, so that is what I just wanted to add in.
Point adequately made. Yes, ma'am. Thank you. I think uh, since there is only one against, I'll take a few seconds and share a thought which was, probably in support of against the motion, where I was speaking to a couple of my course-mates, retired officers, and they said, see, the army is building bridges, the army is building roads, and now we are also moving into an expectation where we want the army to educate also. The army is already in the construction business. The army is already in the, in a lot of other areas. Whenever the administration fails, you expect the army to step in. And if we are saying that we want military education to be compulsory, then in some form we are expecting the army to move into the education sector as well. Yeah. Won't be long before the army then takes over. The only thing left for the army to take over is politics, and then we can request the prime minister also to take a back seat, and that will be the beginning of something else. Um, my intention is not to get involved, but since we had less representation on the against forum, I thought I'll take a few seconds on that. If there are no other points of interest at the present moment, Ms. Prabha, I now invite you to take your 10 minutes where you can share your thoughts and data in detail. Ma'am, your 10 minutes begin. Please go ahead.
See, part of physical training, yes, they might say it is discipline, but all other things like morality, defining one's character, life skills, ideology, and all this comes in our curriculum as such. It is not that an extra military training has to be given or any physical training to be given in the school just to inculcate discipline or just to inculcate patriotism. There are so many other ways in a subtle manner the children can be transformed, and which we have seen in our school. We follow the other alternative methods of education where there is no regimen. Children like to do it, children love to do it, and we have given the freedom to do it. And in spite of freedom, they have found ways of discipline. That's a beautiful way children are handled in our school. So having that experience, I felt children have full potential to adapt to any situation. Nurturing them in proper way, they get disciplined all, in a way they have to be. It's not that one has to have a regimen or a training for it to be disciplined, and it is inborn in us as human nature. We are made soft by human nature. There was an interesting book which I read, The Humankind of Rutger Bergman. He writes about the very nature of the human beings. We are there to share, we are there to be soft, and all those skills are there in us. It's only for us educators to identify each child's potential and mold them for their discipline, time management, collaborative activity, group work. And we also have encouraged team games in our school, where we have only team games. We don't have any other games, because just to make them understand what is team building. So it's not just that only the physical training can give them. You can make, even it has been studied that with proper education, it enhances the duty of a soldier also. There are research papers which have been written in which they say that without education, they are just getting into the army and getting educated to grow up to be a commander in Navy. They find there are lacunae. So I feel education should be complete for school children at their age from 6 to 16, and they have to have a proper education with all values, attributes, and whatever the child deserves. With physic fitness, that's when the child is prepared to take up a decorating career, maybe in future. He can go into army, or he can go into any other discipline as the choice. It gives a democratic ethos for the child. Thank you. Thank you.
Ma'am, you still have about 6 minutes. If there's anything you want to add, you can go ahead.
Yeah, I can only quote, this debate has happened many times, and there have been great thinkers who have already thought about it. And I would like to quote Dr. Radhakrishnan. He said, education was not merely to produce an abstract intellectual or a high-class technician, but to produce cultured personalities with restrained behavior and civilized manners. When he meant it, he meant school education as a teacher. He did not include any kind of physical training into the school. He only entreats the educators. This all can be done in a school by an efficient teacher or an educator with a proper focus. Subsequently, he also remarks, education is meant to enable an individual to attain his full potential. It is within this twin observations that, he builds a temporal, well-being of a human being. And he says military education is not so very essential at the school level. A field which is fast changing now, education is fast changing. I think we have lots to do in the education as such to prepare the children for the future. We don't know what is in store for them. Today it is AI. We don't know what is going to be their future. But still, I think we have lots more to do in that respect than getting into more of physical training in the school. I think we have a wider area in academics and also values which we have to teach children for their future. Thank you. I have nothing more to say.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. I open the house for our next crossfire. Any points of interest? I see Miss Seema. We'll come to Miss Pinky after that.
As ma'am has said that she doesn't feel that the military education
Please
is much necessary.
unmute yourself.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Please go ahead.
Military education is not necessary into the normal schools, but then why do we have 28 Sainik schools and 5 military schools all around our country?
It is a choice of the individual. We cannot make it part of the curriculum. That's what I meant. It may not be inducted in all schools as such. It can be the choice. That's what I meant. It depends. It gives a democratic attitude for the child to choose. He can get into this kind of school, or if he wants to get into military kind of school, he can get in. But we cannot have it as a common platform in school education. That's what I meant.
Thank you.
Miss Pinky, please go ahead.
Yeah, I would catch the thread where Seema ma'am said she asked about and she talked about the different schools. I have a beautiful quote, and it's a beautiful lines written by Rudyard Kipling in the poem If, where he says, if you meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two imposters just the same. So what I mean to say, ma'am said, Prabha ma'am talked about that there are subtle ways to give education, value education and other. It's not only about military training. And there's one beautiful line written in a soldier's poem where it's written, we came here to fight for the ones we hold dear. If that's not respected, we would rather stay here. So please stop yelling, put down your signs and pray for those behind enemy lines. What I mean to say is that one question, Prabha ma'am, that's just all churning in my mind, where I want to ask that why, when there is education from different avenues, why do we consider only school the only mode of the best way of giving education? There can be so many. The child can be seated at home and have the education. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. See, the thing is, I have these, for example, school children, they have to be handled psychologically, emotionally, and considering the socio-economic situation from wherever they come from. We have a mixed group as a school. It is a community, and we have a mixed group. So we cannot bring in a regimen. Each child is unique. Each child has his own emotions to play with, and he comes from one social background. All the children are not coming from the same home. They have their own baggages to carry when they come to school. So they have lots of things in their mind already. We are only channelizing that to give good education, a good kind of values, whatever we can give, along with a proper education where he can develop a personality which is holistic. That's what I meant. And why? In that, at a very young age, it even steals sometimes the child's right. in our school, we don't have, or we have organized games. We have physical training, we have organized games. There is one slot which is given to the children for pre-play. That is where I see all the mixed group of children get into, and they talk to each other of all age groups. They exchange their thoughts, they work in sync, and any function, they don't look at primary, elementary, or high school. All of them are together during free play time. So that is what I mean, psychological aspect of it has to be considered. They are too young to put them into regimen. And I have seen with my own eyes, given freedom, what all they can do. And they find freedom is not, we cannot mistake the word freedom for discipline. When you give freedom, automatically discipline also falls in. They don't take advantage. They know that freedom is given, but they cannot misuse it. They have a consequence for it. So, and even adolescents, suppose you put them, now you see that age, you give them some kind of physical training at that particular time. It is a developmental stage. They undergo so many physical and mental changes during that particular period of growth. And add with that, we find it so difficult to manage in all schools we know, like, from the middle school, 7th to 9th or 10th, we have set of children whom we counsel and we talk to them very often. And with this, added to this, if we have to put some kind of, physical training or some kind of thing, I don't think they can take it. And we have faced this, they want, they are identifying themselves. That's a age where they cannot place themselves as a boy and an adult, a girl and an adult. They are trying to explore. I don't think we should create another, a platform where we put them into aggressive. Definitely a physical training comes with a regimen. It comes with some aggression. It comes with some stress, some kind of, effort which they have to put extraordinarily when it comes to physical. It is not, preparing. We have seen, maybe in a smaller scale, we will bring it to school, but that even then, that I feel, it is not so essential at this point of time at school. That's all I want to say.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Any other points of interest to be shared? Yes, ma'am. Miss Seema, please go ahead. Please unmute yourself.
Yeah, sorry. Just wanted to add, like when we talk about incorporating the military training into the school system, which will bring in disciplines, mental strength, confidence to face any adverse situations and all that. Today we can see that the word respect is somewhere not really being given importance to, because whether it is right from our classroom to the teachers, by the students, or by the parents to the teachers, or the political scenario where you find now today also Bombay and we all burning. So all this is, where is the respect, like the word respect, which has to be, which will be given more importance in the military training for respect for brotherhood and all that stuff. So that is one point I just wanted to put it across to Prabha ma'am.
Yeah, this also, we have done this also, ma'am, like respect, see, how much are we respecting the children? No, this is not the question I am asking. Like, in our school, we make it a point to respect every child. definitely the teacher gets respect. And the respect is replicated, it goes along as a part of their personality. How much of us have time to listen to the children in the class? How many of us have allowed them to ask questions? See, the child has to be heard. Then respect always happens when it is reciprocal. Respect is one which is reciprocal, whether you take it as relationship at home or relationship outside. So that is a key we have adapted, and we see respect, that children respect all of us, even the younger ones and even the elder children. They respect all of them equally. Among themselves also, they have sensitivity and they have respect.
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
I think it has to be inculcated. We cannot find answers. You have to work with the children very closely. Then we can find, when you listen to the children, then they will also listen to you.
Thank
They'll
you,
be ready to do. But we don't have the patience nowadays. It has become so mechanical, the classroom. We induct teachers, we hardly have any time to train them, teach them the soft skills, put them in the class, and then we realize, yes, she is this, she is that, and then start mentoring. If we do it so methodically, I think there is a way.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. While I'm switching hats from the moderator to being a proponent, supporting against the motion, just filling in for the fourth speaker. Any of the times, ma'am, about some decades ago, where we had the Kshatriya class in India, the warrior class in India, who was to send their children into the woods, to away from military and hierarchical influences, into the forests, into the woods, into the guru's care, so that they learned pretty much the same values or discipline or respect, which today we are now taking with students out of the gurukuls and sending them back into a hierarchical sort of a Kshatriya environment. Okay, now we want you to learn the same things, but from there. Times of the irony of the times where I think in the 10 or 1000 BC, where while the entire world was busy in wars, I think the Indian subcontinent was using most of its time in publications and teachings and universities, etc. And in the 2000s, India is busy with wars, and the other areas are now busy with publications, etc. We will now move into the next segment, where I will invite each speaker to summarize and share their thoughts vis-a-vis the added material that has been presented during the debate. They can proceed with their own stand, or they can highlight any opposing thoughts that they have heard which have been of interest to them. Each speaker will have 3 minutes to share their summary and thoughts. I request speaker number 2, Ms. Seema, to begin. Your 3 minutes start now.
Yes, sir. So I just want to start up with the last line, what you just left there. Like we go back to the olden days where, we were trained to be Kshatriyas to fight for the, wars and all that. While the other countries were in wars, and we Indians used to be into literature and teaching, and there was a more peaceful environment in India when compared to the other countries, right? So that was the last part which you left there. But here, when we talk about military education in schools, we are not, we are going through the peaceful method of academic side, the same history, geography, and all the whatever has to be taught to the child. I just add on the training wherein which will bring the discipline for the child, because already we are doing it in a very small scale as PT. Okay, but even in those days also, when you see, though our Kshatriyas were all trained for wars, and of course the situation was like that where we had to go in for emergency like that, but now India is trying its maximum best to have a diplomacy being done for countries around, the neighboring countries who are troubling us off and on, right? So of course we have to keep our children prepared for any adverse effect. That is the main thing there, whether it is the small children or the adults. Okay, so that is my stand for that. So I would stand on my this thing that that we really need this military training, as I told you earlier, that it's not about ammunitions or anything like that, but it is about physically training your body and mind to make the children use of their time productively. That is the main thing which I wanted to tell over here. Okay, so as we were discussing earlier, technology has brought in a lot of change in the attitudes of the children, and of course of the parents also. So because even the culture starts right from home, that is the first environment for the child. Second is the neighborhood, and third only is the school. So when it comes to the school level, I think we should be having a little more system of how to productively make use of the child, because now also when we have the NCC in our schools, after the school is over at 3:30, 1 hour goes for the NCC. The children, and even children have taken up the subject NCC also of their choice in 11th and 12th and all. So there are children, as Prabha ma'am was telling, it's the choice of the parents and the students who can, go ahead with that sort of a training fully. But a little bit of, I would prefer, if there is a PT teacher from the military background, he would approach the children in a different way rather than a normal MPED's PT teachers who are coming into the school. So I felt that this is all the thing which I would like to share. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. I now invite Ms. Pinkey Singh to please share your summary. Your 3 minutes start now.
My 3 minutes starts now. So I'll divide these 3 minutes into 3 different liners. My first minute, I'm going to talk about the introduction from CBSE for SQAA, School Quality Assurance and Assessment, where we have given different weightage to different domains. Whereas academics has got 25%, curriculum has, post-scholastic has got 15%, infrastructure, management and governance, HR, and all they have got 10% each. So 8 domains are there in an education system, where 25% for the scholastic and 15% for the post-scholastic, and the other areas have 10%. That comes to 100%. Why am I talking about the SQA? Because as Prabha ma'am talked about the value education system, when we are making a question paper, the question paper has 2 marks for the value, the question which is being set up for the
value-based questions.
Yes, value-based questions. So the 2 marks are given there for that. We give content, accuracy, and for the value and all, there has to be, besides the value-based question, even in the question, the different number, it has been, the marking scheme is different. So here I am talking about that when we are ensuring that we need to give an equal learning environment to all the children. Of course, all children are unique, but that doesn't mean that here we have to have a discrimination. And for example, let me take a recent example of the Yoga Day. When I talk about Yoga Day, 21st is the International Yoga Day celebrated. I asked the children, why is that International Yoga Day celebrated? And they don't know why is it celebrated. And then we have to give them the answer and explain that this is the summer solstice day also. And that's the longest day. And therefore, when they sat down, when
the people sat down and they had this discussion in the general elections uh, of the United Nations. They came to the point that 21st June should be there. So what I mean to say here, that we need to have a proper training for the children. Any education curriculum, anything should be relevant to the education system. We cannot just have a education system where the textbooks have to be updated. Everything has to be updated from time to time. So in the 21st century, we need to even inculcate the military training here among the children to maintain all these qualities. Value education doesn't only come by the marking scheme. Are we dealing with all these situations? We are talking about education is the most powerful weapon, but where is the weapon? Are we going ahead with that weapon? Pen is mightier than sword, but are we following that? So we need to give a equal learning environment to the children. Each and every child should get the education. And as Seema ma'am talked about the technology for. So pre-COVID, post-COVID now. Now we cannot just totally forget technology. So we have started with the mode of hybrid. So we are talking about the blended format. So that education is still, because we don't know, God forbid, but anything happens, the children should not forget about the thing. The teacher should not.
You'll need to conclude. Please go ahead.
Yeah. So we need to inculcate among children, and we need to, even whatever things which we have learned priorly should be connected in the present times also. So it should be a learning environment to each and every child given for the betterment of the society. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Ms. Prabha, since you're the only person against the motion, you have 2 minutes to, in case there are any final crossfire points. After that, you can summarize. Please do not summarize now.
That's what, considering the...
Yes, please go ahead.
Considering the age of the children in the school, I still reiterate that their developmental needs are such. Whatever is included is already there. Like, other than that kind of physical training, we pay attention to health and physical education. And we also have NCC, we have scouts and guides, and we have lot other like yoga. We have all extracurricular activities, and which suffices a child's need. And I think getting military training will be ignoring the child's rights, one. And I feel it will be an vulnerability, a window of vulnerability for the child than voluntary consent. And also, considering the child's health, emotional, mental, and everything, I would prefer the child is protected at least till the school level, with minimum of maximum of academics, equally their physics, fitness, whatever we have to do for their development as a child to develop healthily in mind as well as physically. That's what I would end.
Thank you. Thank you. Just adding, again, switching hats and becoming a proponent of against. There is a subtle difference between training and education. Yeah, military training is training. Yeah, while we are in the business of education. Yeah, so there's a subtle difference, and while there are benefits of training, proponents of education will agree that training and education can't replace each other. That's one. Second, are we actually looking at the army to help us fill in the gaps where education, fill in the gaps in education, rather than us ourselves, putting on our gloves, getting into it, and sort of filling the gaps ourselves? We are looking at probably another institution like the army to come step in and fill the gaps that we are unable to fill. So is it only because of the gap filling that we are, for military education? Anyway, Ms. Prabha, you have your 3 minutes to summarize. You can use your.
That's what, as you said, sir. I think uh, as a team, as a community, as a school, I think we are equipped with enough and more what we can provide for the children for their development. And I would uh, go against this military training or whatever training it is. I don't think that should be an add-on to school education, at least with the age group of 6 to 16. Again, I reiterate, I think they should be given that space, time, and also to have their developmental needs, whatever they need to in every way. That's what, in all aspects of growing up.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. The last segment, final focus, where any of the participants, if they have any data or points of interest on the points raised in summary, you can share your thoughts. But please be brief. This is just a final focus or a final statement which you may have. Ms. Seema, please go ahead.
Yes, sir. As ma'am says, like from 6 to 16, if it is not there also, at least from 8th to 12th we want, sir. Because that is the stage where these children become little scooty, small heroes, no? And they want to show off their themselves, at least for 1 hour. See, we not be like Sainik school and all, like half day academy and half day the military training, but at least 1 hour in per day if we can have something like this, because when I see my bandmaster, when we pick up bandmasters from the normal stream and the bandmasters coming from the army, that makes such a lot of difference. And respecting women in when you go to that army area is something really nice. Okay, we really fall for it. The way they carry us, they talk to us and everything. So the respecting part is also really good there. So these things could be little, taught to our children right from the smaller classes. That is what is my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Any other points of interest? Right. We'll conclude. We are at 12:17 p.m. I think we are on time, minus the 10 minutes which the fourth speaker would have taken. Thank you so much for having a lively debate. Before I conclude, I must apologize. As a moderator in a debate, a moderator cannot switch hats or take stands. My purpose of switching hat and taking on the chair of the against was just to fill in and make sure the points on the other side are also delivered. I apologize. A moderator must not switch hats. For those, there are people who are watching who would also like to carry this tool forward into their institutions as a method of learning. We encourage you to please do that. We've shared the norms and the pattern in which this debate is conducted. This is very close to a method known as Texas debate, which is and not the parliamentary debate style which is used. It's a little different from that. There is a lot of crossfire that is permitted during the debate. Lastly, participants, one thing they need to be aware of is the difference between a crossfire round and the round where you're actually sharing your points. In the 10 minutes where we are sharing our points is where we open our cards. Whereas in the crossfire round, we usually have a chance to, make other people open their cards. Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being part of this session here. It was a real pleasure having you.
Thank you, sir.
And being sportive to, actually sit down, research, and give your time on a Sunday, which I think is dedicated to, the family and children at home. We wish you all the best. We invite you to be part of the Amrita fraternity. If there is any aspect or anything from the existing knowledge portal of Amrita institutions which can be shared with you, we will always be more than happy. you can just reach out to us. Thank you so much. Please do have a good day. Parvati, I hand it over to you for closing it technically.
I just wanted to thank Pinky ma'am and Prabha ma'am especially. Like a lioness, she just stood strong for her point. Though being
Yeah,
alone.
very true. I
No,
also
because
want to
that is what we follow in the school, you know. See, I have been teaching in traditional background for about 20 years. Okay. The fag end of my career, now I am working in Valiants Academy. We have a different philosophy altogether, and we have done that, and I believe in it. That is why I'm sharing it to you. What I told was the truth. I don't need any add-on for discipline. I don't need any add-on for, you know, making my adolescents behave well. It has happened. So I have changed myself. It has transformed my belief. So I shared it in this platform. This was a good opportunity to share. Thank you so much. The way Pinky, Mrs. Pinky spoke, you know, I like the way, you know, you
Her
spoke
flow was
Paul
very good.
also. It's very nice.
no,
It was
thank
very
you
nice,
so
ma'am. We enjoyed. We enjoyed really.
Good. It was a good team here. And Prabha ma'am, rightly, Seema ma'am said rightly that Prabha ma'am was all like a pillar standing and going. And of course, you said that whatever you felt, you spoke. No, we also, therefore, I went for the motion because I had this feeling, yeah,
Mm.
that yes, military training should be there, because I feel that in the curriculum today there are certain things missing out. So with these kind of introduction, like Seema ma'am added that it can be for the 9 to 12, you said 6 to 8. So I know there are these varied versions and all, but I know everyone has their own opinion. We all are therefore unique, like the children, and that has been its but we shouldn't forget the Amrita University, which gave us a platform.
Brought us together.
Yes,
Brought us
brought us
together.
together. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Ma'am,
Thank
I
you.
do hope that you will all be in touch with each other also.
Yes.
You have each other's
Thank
contact
you.
details in
Yes.
the WhatsApp. Please do be in touch. Thank you so much. We'll close.
Thank
Have
you.
a good day. Thank you.
Thank you.